And then thyroid protective. One really interesting story that I always refer back to about coconut oil specifically, I remember reading the old books on coconut oil, like this Dr. Bruce Fife's book on the Coconut Miracle, Dr. Raymond Peat, and he was a champion for coconut products in the, the mid 1900s. And he brought up a story one time in the 1940s, because of this whole fat hypothesis. If you eat fat, it's going to make you fat, right? And we've all heard that. So farmers used to actually feed their pigs tons of coconut oil because they thought that the pigs are going to get fat. And what they found out was happening is the pigs started to get skinny and they started running around like dogs. And they're like, oh, no, that's not what we want. So then they took them off the coconut oil and then they put them on corn and soy. And then they started to plump up again, because what does soy do? It inhibits thyroid function. It inhibits metabolism, thermogenic metabolism. It nulls down. It puts you in a hypothyroid syndrome. Slows down your thyroid. So that I always found that really interesting. I'm like, okay, that must have some similarity to humans. If someone has a hypothyroidism, slow metabolism, they have irregularities with their temperature, their body temperature, energy issues. If you know you have a slow thyroid, coconut oil is the #1 thing I would cleave off for you right there. Put a tablespoon of coconut oil in your tonic. Put it in your coffee if you do coffee. Put it like heating it up is really good. It gets into the body right away. And it makes that tonic more creamy too, like a hot chocolate with coconut oil. Really great way to just slide that right in, right? Even if you have a family member, like my grandmother, whenever I come home and make her tonics, coconut oil, coconut oil, coconut oil. I just get it in there. You can put it in your partner's, spouse's, put it in their coffee. And it might have subtle effects on other things too. That might be, good. A lot of this stuff too, you got to read between the lines. You don't even have to tell them. You just kind of like, you're like, oh, it's been a while. Like, all right. Right? You just slip it in. That's all you need. Huh?
Male and female.
Absolutely. It's hormonal. The #1 indication of healthy hormones is what? Does anyone know?
Libido.
Libido. Boom. That's it. When you have a low libido, that usually means you're too stressed out. Stress increases cortisol. Cortisol is a hormone. It's your stress hormone. You should have enough cortisol in what time of the day? What time do you think you should have your highest cortisol? Morning, right? That's when your that's why working out in the morning is better than working out at night. Working out at night keeps you up late. I used to play basketball games I used to do 3 workouts a day when I was on my schedule. Morning, 4:30 in the morning, I'd be in the weight room doing my shooting workout. 12 in the afternoon, I'd be lifting weights. I'd be back in the gym at 6 till 12 sometimes playing games. Just like running, just recreational games, just playing. Until like 12 at night, depending on if we were winning or losing. If we were losing, it was like, nope, you guys aren't leaving. We're going. We're going to keep going. And I remember, like, I would be buzzed. I'd be, like, wired. Be like, even though I worked out so hard, I'd still be like, because that cortisol is super high. So working out in the morning is the best. And then you exercise that and you mobilize that cortisol. And then it doesn't outcompete your anabolic growth hormones like human growth hormone. It doesn't outcompete your testosterone or progesterone. Really interesting fact about hormones in that conversation is that hormones, they get carried through metabolic pathways in the body, right? So everything has to go through a pathway. I was referencing the omega-3, omega-6 ratio, the first talk, right? Guess what? Omega-3s, omega-6s share the same pathway in the body. Too much omega-6 crowds out omega-3. Progesterone and cortisol share the same pathway. Too much cortisol pushes out progesterone. And also cortisol converts into estrogen. And not the one you want. Not the estriol, which is the one you typically want if you're a woman. We're talking about your estrone. or estradiol, which are typically, when those are out of balance, those are indicative of cancer risk. Those are indicative of sleep apnea, menstrual issues, menopausal issues, perimenopause, postmenopause, premenopause, like that whole
10 years?
No, not 10 years. Now it's coming up sooner because of environmental toxicity. You have women in their 20s that are premenopausal, and even like 25, 30 perimenopausal. Like it's getting that serious. If you look at a young girl, when she is typically, what is it, 11, 12, 13,
Yes.
is like when that growth spurt hits. You know what that growth spurt is? That's when a girl has her highest amount of estradiol. Estradiol is a steroidal version of estrogen. That's when you want it. That's when you want that estradiol flooding through your body, because it's a growth hormone. But if you're 50 or 60 years old and you have high estradiol,
Cancer.
what is cancer? It's anabolic. Anything that's anabolic will feed cancer. So meat, for example, is very young, it's very anabolic. Sugar can have an anabolic effect in that situation. But I'm going to digress from that. So that's kind of a little tidbit. If you do a hormone panel test, make sure you get a full hormone panel. Not just like, oh, where's my DHEA and my thyroid hormone and my testosterone and progesterone and estrogen. You need to get all three estrogens. You need to get the ratio. You need to know where your vitamin D is. You need to get a full hormone panel test, typically a capillary test. Saliva test, inaccurate. It only tells you where you may be at a certain stage in that day, maybe. Not totally accurate. You need to get a capillary test. Okay? Just to let you know, just to put that out there. Okay? Let's move on.